AI, it feels like it's everywhere you turn these days, right? I mean,
Hmm.
our phones, our cars, even our fridges are getting in on the action.
Yeah, it really does feel like it's taking over the world.
But here's the thing that I keep coming back to. Most of the talk about AI is focused on adults.
Hmm.
Like, we're having all these big, important conversations about ethics, the future of work, all of that.
Right.
But what about the kids? Like, how are we preparing them for a world where AI is just the norm?
It really is a blind spot when you think about it.
Total.
We're handing young people these incredibly powerful AI tools, but are we really equipping them to use these tools responsibly, to understand their potential and also their limitations?
And that is exactly what we are diving into today. We're taking a deep dive into UNESCO's AI Competency Framework for Students, also known as the AICFS.
Okay.
This is the first global framework of its kind, and it's basically a roadmap for raising AI-savvy citizens.
And for good reason. UNESCO found that by 2022, only 15 countries worldwide had incorporated AI learning objectives into their national curricula.
15.
15!
That's crazy.
That's a tiny fraction when you consider the scale at which AI is transforming every industry and aspect of our lives.
Yeah, that's a serious wake-up call. I mean, imagine a student trying to navigate college applications or even just their social media feeds without a solid understanding of how AI works.
Right, or just the implications of its use. Like, it's not even a question of whether students will encounter AI, it's just about ensuring they have the competency to engage with it thoughtfully and effectively.
Okay, so how does UNESCO's vision fit into all of this?
Well, UNESCO's framework doesn't just focus on the technical aspects of AI.
Yep.
It's built on the idea that AI education needs to be deeply human-centered.
I like that.
It outlines 4 key aspects of AI competence.
All right, break them down for me. What's first?
First up, we have human-centered mindset.
Human-centered mindset. Okay, so I'm guessing this means we don't want to raise a generation of robots. Yeah.
It's about instilling the understanding that AI should serve humanity, not the other way around.
Makes sense.
This involves critical thinking, ethical decision-making, and understanding the societal impact of AI.
Got it.
It's about empowering students to be the ones shaping AI, not just being shaped by it.
I love that. So it's about more than just knowing how to code.
Yeah.
It's about raising critical thinkers who can really engage with the big questions around AI.
Absolutely. And that leads us to the second aspect, AI techniques and applications.
Techniques and applications.
Yeah.
Okay, so is this where we get into the nuts and bolts of AI?
This is where we get into the nuts and bolts.
Okay.
Yes, so we're talking algorithms and code.
Right.
But it goes beyond just coding.
Okay.
It's about understanding how different types of AI work, recognizing their strengths and limitations, and knowing how to choose the right AI tool for a particular task.
So it's almost like giving students a toolkit.
Yeah.
And then also the knowledge to use each tool effectively and responsibly.
Exactly. For example, imagine a student is working on a research project.
Yeah.
Instead of just Googling their topic, they could learn to use an AI-powered research tool to sift through vast amounts of data, identify key themes, and even uncover connections they might not have found otherwise.
That's super cool. So they're not just consuming information. They're learning to leverage AI to analyze and synthesize information.
Right. It's about giving them the skills to be informed users and creators of AI.
Got it. Okay, what's next on UNESCO's list?
The third aspect is AI system design.
System design.
And this is where things get really interesting for students who are passionate about AI and want to go beyond just using it.
Okay, so we're talking about the future AI engineers and entrepreneurs here.
Exactly. This aspect focuses on equipping students with the knowledge and skills to design and build AI systems themselves.
Wow.
It's about fostering innovation while emphasizing ethical considerations throughout the design process.
So it's like giving them the power to shape the future of AI. But let's be real, not every student is going to become an AI developer, right?
Right.
Is this framework still relevant for students who might not pursue a career in AI?
Absolutely. And that's where the fourth aspect, ethics of AI, comes in.
That's it.
It emphasizes the importance of ethical considerations in every interaction with AI.
That's it. So it's about being a responsible AI citizen, regardless of your career path.
Precisely.
Okay.
It's about understanding the potential biases embedded in AI systems, knowing how to protect your privacy in an AI-driven world, and thinking critically about the broader societal implications of AI.
I'm really seeing how these 4 aspects work together. It's not just about technical skills. It's about fostering a holistic understanding of AI and its impact on our lives.
Right.
But how does UNESCO envision students actually progressing through these competencies? It's not like we're going to throw complex algorithms at kindergartners.
Of course not.
Okay,
The beauty of this framework is that it's designed to be adaptable and accessible to learners of all ages.
okay. Tell me more.
UNESCO has outlined 3 levels of mastery: understand, apply, and create.
Okay, so it's kind of like a staircase,
Yeah,
leading students from basic comprehension to hands-on application and eventually to designing their own AI solutions.
you got it.
I like it.
At the understand level, students might learn about the basic concepts of AI,
Right.
how it works, what it can do, and how it's different from human intelligence.
Okay.
Imagine elementary school students learning that while AI can beat a chess grandmaster, it still can't understand a joke or write a poem like a human can.
That's a great way to illustrate the differences between artificial and human intelligence. So how would that progress to the apply level?
At the apply level, students might learn to use AI tools for specific tasks,
Okay.
like creating a presentation with an AI-powered design tool, or using an AI-based language translator to communicate with someone who speaks a different language. They learn to critically evaluate the output of these tools and understand their limitations.
So they're learning to be discerning users of AI, not just passive consumers.
Exactly. And at the create level, those students who are really passionate about AI could delve into building their own AI models, maybe designing a simple game with AI-powered characters, or creating an app that uses machine learning to personalize recommendations.
That's so cool. I'm already picturing all the amazing things students could create, but this all sounds very theoretical. Are there any real-world examples of how schools are putting this framework into practice?
There are. And that's what's so exciting about this.
Okay.
It's not just a theoretical framework gathering dust on a shelf.
Right.
It's being used right now to shape AI education around the globe.
Okay, I have to hear about this.
Yeah.
Where are we seeing the framework in action?
Well, one great example is the Republic of Korea.
Okay.
They've made AI education a national priority, aiming to build a people-centered artificial intelligence ecosystem. They're actively training teachers, developing resources, and implementing AI curricula across different levels of education.
That's impressive. So they're really putting their money where their mouth is when it comes to AI education. What about other examples?
The United Arab Emirates is another fascinating case.
Okay.
They've adopted an interdisciplinary approach, weaving AI into subjects like science, technology, engineering, arts, and math.
Oh, wow.
They have a dedicated curriculum called Computing, Creative Design, and Innovation,
Yeah.
specifically designed to cultivate AI competencies.
That's a really smart approach. It
Yeah.
shows that AI education isn't about creating a separate silo. It's about integrating it into a holistic approach to learning.
Exactly. And another initiative worth highlighting is the Day of AI, a collaboration between MIT and other organizations.
Day of AI.
Yeah. They've developed free, age-appropriate AI curricula that schools can easily adopt and adapt. They even use a spiral curriculum, meaning students revisit core AI concepts at increasing levels of complexity as they progress.
That makes so much sense. You wouldn't teach calculus to a first grader, but you can certainly introduce them to basic math concepts that will eventually build up to calculus.
Yeah.
It sounds like Day of AI is doing the same thing with AI education.
You've got it. They start by helping students understand what AI is and how it works.
Right.
Then, as students get older, they explore things like data and algorithms, ethical considerations, and even AI design. It's all about making AI education accessible and engaging for students of all ages.
These are some truly inspiring examples.
Yeah.
It's incredible to see how this framework is coming to life in classrooms around the world. But before we get too carried away with all the possibilities, I think it's important to take a step back and acknowledge the elephant in the room.
Okay.
Implementation.
Yeah.
I mean, all of this sounds fantastic, but rolling out a comprehensive AI curriculum on a global scale, that has come with its own set of challenges, right?
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Turning this vision into a reality is no small feat. It requires a multifaceted approach, addressing everything from teacher training to resource development to infrastructure.
So where do we even begin?
Well, I think the most logical starting point is teacher training. We can't expect teachers to magically become AI experts overnight.
Right. Even if they could, the field of AI is evolving so rapidly that staying up to date would be a full-time job in itself.
Exactly. That's why ongoing professional development is crucial. but the type of training needed will vary depending on the teacher's role and the level they're teaching.
So we're not talking about turning every teacher into a coding whiz.
Not necessarily. A kindergarten teacher might focus on introducing basic AI concepts through play-based learning, while a high school computer science teacher might delve into more advanced programming and algorithms.
Okay, so it's all about tailoring the training to meet the specific needs of each teacher and their students. But teacher training is just one piece of the puzzle, right? What about the resources they'll need to actually teach AI effectively?
That's another key piece. We need high-quality learning materials.
Yeah.
Textbooks, lesson plans, interactive simulations, online platforms
Right.
that are engaging, accessible, and aligned with the framework's competencies.
And these resources need to be available to everyone, right? Not just schools in well-funded districts or countries with advanced technological infrastructure.
Absolutely. Equity and inclusivity are paramount.
Okay.
We need to think about open source materials, translated resources, and even offline learning options for students without reliable internet access.
So we're talking about a massive undertaking, but one that has the potential to transform education on a global scale?
It's a big challenge, but it's also an incredible opportunity. And when you think about the potential benefits a generation equipped to navigate and shape an AI-driven world, it's an opportunity we can't afford to miss.
I totally agree.
And it's not just about jobs, it's about empowering students to be informed citizens in a world that's being increasingly shaped by AI.
It's like AI literacy is becoming as fundamental as reading and writing in the 21st century.
Exactly. And that's why access to technology is another crucial piece of this implementation puzzle.
Yeah, you can't really teach AI effectively without access to AI and the computing power it needs.
Exactly. The framework highlights the need for investments in infrastructure,
Okay?
reliable internet access, up-to-date computers, and even specialized AI hardware and software.
It's not just about the hardware, though, is it? It's also about creating learning environments where students can actually experiment with AI,
Right.
collaborate on projects, get guidance from their teachers.
You're spot on. We need spaces where students can safely explore the capabilities of AI, test its limits, and maybe even stumble upon its quirks.
Yeah, I love the spaces where they can learn by doing, by trying, by failing even.
Well,
That's where the real learning happens, right?
absolutely. And these spaces don't have to be confined to traditional classrooms.
Right.
We can leverage libraries, community centers, even online platforms to make AI education more accessible.
I'm picturing after-school AI clubs, weekend workshops at the local library, online mentoring programs connecting students with AI professionals all over the world. It's pretty exciting to think about all the possibilities.
It is, and this framework encourages us to think beyond traditional boundaries, to tap into the collective knowledge and resources of our communities, to create a more inclusive and engaging AI learning experience for everyone.
So we've talked about the need for teacher training, high-quality resources, access to technology. What other challenges do you see when it comes to implementing this framework on a global scale?
But one challenge is the rapid pace of AI development itself. It's a moving target.
It's like trying to hit a bullseye on a target that's constantly spinning and shifting. How do we ensure that AI education keeps up with these advancements?
That's where ongoing curriculum development and revision become really essential.
Okay.
We need to build flexibility into the system so educators can adapt and update their teaching as new AI technologies emerge and ethical considerations evolve.
It sounds like a continuous process of learning and adaptation for both teachers and students.
Exactly. And that brings us to another challenge, assessment. How do we measure a student's understanding of AI in a way that's meaningful and relevant to this rapidly evolving field?
Right. Standardized tests probably aren't going to cut it here.
What are some alternative approaches to assessment that might be more effective?
Well, one approach is to focus on project-based learning and portfolio assessments. Instead of just testing rote memorization, we can evaluate a student's ability to apply their AI knowledge to real-world problems, to design solutions, to think critically about ethical implications.
So it's about evaluating their ability to think like an AI innovator, not just regurgitating facts.
Exactly. We can also look at alternative forms of assessment like peer review, self-reflection, and even contribution to open-source AI projects.
Those are great ideas. It seems like evaluating AI competency requires a more holistic and dynamic approach than traditional testing methods allow. But even with all the challenges we've discussed, there's a sense of urgency to getting this right, isn't there? Absolutely. AI is already transforming our world, and its impact will only become more profound in the years to come.
So this isn't just about preparing students for future jobs. It's about empowering them to shape a future where AI is used ethically, responsibly, and for the benefit of all humankind.
Well said. And that brings us back to the core principles of UNESCO's framework:
Hmm.
human-centered design, ethical considerations, and a focus on empowering individuals to be informed and engaged citizens in an AI-driven world.
And that focus on empowerment makes me think about another important aspect of AI education: accessibility. We've
Yeah.
talked about this in terms of resources and infrastructure, but what about accessibility for learners with diverse needs and learning styles?
That's incredibly important. We need to design AI curricula and learning experiences that are inclusive and equitable for all students, regardless of their background, abilities, or learning preferences.
So things like providing alternative formats for learning materials, incorporating assistive technologies, creating individualized learning paths that cater to different strengths and challenges.
Exactly. And it's also about fostering a culture of inclusivity within the AI field itself.
Hmm.
We need to make sure that the next generation of AI innovators represents the diversity of our world and that everyone has the opportunity to contribute to shaping this powerful technology.
I'm really struck by the interconnectedness of all these challenges and opportunities. It's not just about teaching AI. It's about creating a more equitable and accessible learning environment for everyone.
You're right. AI education isn't happening in a vacuum. It's intertwined with broader societal issues of equity, access, and inclusion.
And that makes this conversation even more crucial, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Because if we get this right, if we equip the next generation with the AI literacy they need, we're not just preparing them for the future of work, we're empowering them to build a better future for everyone.
I couldn't agree more. It's an ambitious goal, but one worth striving for. And who knows, maybe through these collective efforts, we'll see a future where AI literacy isn't just a specialized skill, but a fundamental right, accessible to all.
That's a powerful vision. But before we get too lost in the big picture, let's bring it back to our listener. What are some key takeaways they can think about as we wrap up this part of our deep dive?
Well, I think one key takeaway is that AI education is not just about teaching technical skills. It's about fostering a mindset of critical thinking, ethical awareness, and a sense of responsibility for shaping the impact of AI on our world.
It's about empowering individuals to be active participants in the AI revolution, not just passive bystanders.
Precisely. And another important takeaway is that implementing this framework requires a collaborative effort.
Right.
It's not just the responsibility of schools or teachers.
Right.
It requires the involvement of parents, policymakers, community leaders, and even the tech industry itself.
It's a collective responsibility to ensure that the next generation is prepared for the challenges and opportunities of an AI-driven world.
And that preparation starts with fostering a culture of curiosity, exploration, and ethical awareness around AI. It's about encouraging young people to ask questions, to experiment, to think critically about the implications of this powerful technology. It's about empowering them to be the architects of a future where AI benefits all humankind.
This has been an incredibly insightful conversation, and I think our listener has a lot to chew on. But before we dive into the final part of our deep dive, I think it's time for a quick break to let all of this information sink in.
And that's when the real magic happens, when those young minds start to grasp the potential of AI, not just as a tool, but as a force for positive change in the world.
I love that framing. It's not about fearing AI or feeling overwhelmed by its complexity. It's about recognizing that potential it has to address some of humanity's biggest challenges.
Exactly. Like, think about it. AI could help us develop more sustainable energy solutions, revolutionize healthcare with personalized treatments, even bridge cultural divides through more nuanced language translation.
Wow, those are some seriously inspiring possibilities. But I think it's also important to remember that AI isn't a silver bullet.
Yeah, you're right. It's not a magical solution that will just solve all our problems overnight. It's a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or for ill.
Which brings us back to the importance of that human-centered mindset, right? Making sure that AI development and deployment are guided by ethical principles and a deep understanding of human values.
Absolutely. And that's why initiatives like UNESCO's AI Competency Framework are so crucial. They're providing a roadmap for equipping the next generation with the knowledge and skills to navigate this complex landscape.
It's like we're handing them a compass and a map, not just to find their way in an AI-driven world, but to chart a course towards a future where AI truly benefits all of humanity.
That's a beautiful analogy. And it highlights the fact that this isn't just about technical skills, it's about fostering a sense of responsibility, ethical awareness, global citizenship.
It's about empowering young people to be the change makers, to use AI as a force for good in their communities and in the world at large.
Exactly. And that's where I see the greatest potential of AI education. not just to prepare students for future jobs, but to prepare them to be the ethical leaders, the innovators, the problem solvers of tomorrow.
So what can our listener do to contribute to this vision, even if they're not an educator or a tech expert?
There's so much everyone can do. Start by having conversations about AI with young people in your life. Share articles, documentaries, even science fiction stories that explore the potential and the pitfalls of this technology.
That's a great idea. Spark their curiosity, get them thinking critically about AI and its implications.
Exactly. You can also support organizations that are working to promote equitable access to AI education. Volunteer your time, donate resources, or simply spread the word about the importance of AI literacy for all.
Those are all great suggestions. It really feels like we're at a pivotal moment where the choices we make today will have a huge impact on the future of AI and its role in our society.
We are, and that's why it's so important to approach AI education with a sense of urgency, but also with a sense of hope and possibility.
Because ultimately, the future of AI is in the hands of the next generation. And if we equip them with the right tools, the right mindset, and the right values, I'm confident they'll create a future that's brighter than we can even imagine.
I couldn't agree more. And on that note, I want to thank you all for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI education.
It's been an incredible journey. And remember, this is just the beginning of the conversation. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking those big questions about the role of AI in our world.